Know your Lord. We learn about his names and his attributes. Know your Lord. What he approves and disapproves. Know your Lord. Believe in all things that he has brought forth. Know his oneness, Lord.
Know Your Lord, part of the Right Belief series by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid, right here on Sunnahfollowers. Being taught by Ustada Layla Nash Sheba as she lays down the foundations to get you together. Learn about your Lord. Know your Lord. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers.
Okay. Ina alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulallah. Welcome to our series of the Maqasidic Tafsir. And this is based on the book that y'all see right there, written by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. Inshallah, we're going to try to get through the whole series. That'll take about 10 years. But inshallah, we'll do the 10 years if we still living together. You know, this is a good series and I really enjoy teaching it. And yes, I can see what some of you were saying about the wording. Yes, this is it's written way above even the United Kingdom's head, because a lot of the English wording that's used, we don't use in any of the dialects anymore. You know, but alhamdulillah, my PowerPoint, I tried to break everything down in plain, simple terms. And I'm really kind of glad he wrote these books this way, because the big problem that we have today in 2024 is there are too many Muslims out there who think that they can teach themselves Islam. Too many women and men pretending to be scholars when they've never learned this deen from anyone of any substance. Okay, that's the reality. You know, you can't just say because you read a book, you understand what it means. As the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there's a difference between knowledge and understanding. Knowledge is simply memorization. Understanding is when you take what you've memorized, apply it to your heart so it can nurture your fitra. And then when your fitra is nurtured, it shows through your actions and behavior. Okay? So I'm kind of glad these books are written this way, because when you guys buy these books, if you really want to benefit from them, you're going to have to come to this class and learn it from me. Because I don't think there's that many people out there, seriously, that can break this stuff down to you in plain, simple, grass-rooted English like I'm doing. Oh, yeah. So I see what you brothers were saying. Brother Tajri, where's Brother Tajri and Brother Jabril? Brother Jabril and Brother Tajri, I see exactly what you brothers were talking about. Because when I had to... Today, we're going to be covering pages 63 through 69. I had to rewrite a lot of that stuff. Even I had to pull out a dictionary. Now, y'all know, I'm going to tell you something. It's not that often that I have to use a dictionary because I got that photographic memory for words. Lord have mercy. I pulled it out today. So, inshallah, I'm going to make it easy. But let me put this here. The Maqasidic, yeah. Tafsir, you want to know how to get the book? I'm getting ready to put it now. Amazon, the book can be purchased at Amazon. And then, right, if you guys buy this book, this one is $19.99, right? The price is $19.99. Let me make it a... You're on Twitch? Okay. There. Oh. We have to get color coordinated. Hold on. Y'all know that bothers me. My OCD, it has to be color coordinated. Let me put it blue. There y'all go. I ain't having that. I'm sitting here. There you go. There you go. Twitch. The Maqasidic Tafsir by Sheikh Karim Abu Zaid. It looks just like this. If you go to Amazon now, you'll see it. The book is $19.99. Yeah, $19.99. And make sure you get the other book called Know Your Lord, because we will begin that book tomorrow. And that one is on sale for $14.90 or something. Take advantage of the sale. Okay? All right. You brothers got it on Twitch? Yeah. Okay, hold on. Yeah, everybody can see it. You know, they can't see your typing because you're on a different platform, but I want to make sure you guys see this. The price still the same? Okay, she said the price is still the same. So $19.99. Okay, now everybody can see that. All right, so before I start, let me remind everybody, we are a nonprofit organization. We are an online Islamic university. Legally, yes, we are. We are a nonprofit online Islamic university, and we are free of charge. We are free of charge. And what does that mean? That means that we are not affiliated with any masjid or any of that. We survive off of your donations. We don't charge money for any of the classes here. We're nonprofit, but we can't survive unless we get donations from you. And this is the first of the month. And I remember yesterday I told you guys that we needed money for the bills. Well, guess what? We are now officially today $147 overdrawn, because we did get a couple of donations yesterday, but they were through PayPal. And when you donate using PayPal, number one, PayPal charges money. I can't stand that. Number two, oh yeah, they done changed their policy for nonprofits like this. When you guys donate, it takes 2 to 3 days for the money to get into the account. It doesn't go directly to the account unless I push. I have to manually go on there and put instant transfer. And y'all know what happens when you do an instant transfer? They get a percentage of that. Oh yeah, PayPal done changed their policies. That's all about the money. Money, 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 money. Not the honey. Okay? Layla ain't getting no honey. Period. So, even though I got 2 donations yesterday, guess what? That money won't go through for 3 days. And when it goes in, it's going to be getting us out of the hole, because we are $140-something in the hole, which means it's going to add up each day. They're going to charge, what, $36 a day? It's just ridiculous. That's the stress that I am faced with as a dye on this website. Y'all want to know why my anxiety is so bad? Oh, God. Money for the website, because I enjoy teaching. I enjoy seeing the reaction like I had today from Sister Layla. You know, Sister Layla, you know, she's been Muslim all her life, and subhanAllah, she never understood the fitra, what was meant by the fitra before. I love to see people finally understand the basics. So I love to teach. But I have that anxiety, that fear that maybe one day I go to log on, the website will be shut down because we don't have no money. And, you know, the bills ain't paid for the website. Yeah, and for people who don't know, it's not the same like it was in the 80s. I was the first website to use voice technology. Did y'all know that? I came from FNet. I was an FNet IRC op. I hung out with DNR and them. Oh yeah, I was an op on about 7-8 servers. Kuwait, Iran, Egypt, Saudi. 3 servers in America. Oh yeah, AOL. I was all of that. And then one day, 2 other IRC ops, they decided, they said, Lady Locks, because that was my name, Lady Locks. Lady Locks, we got a project in school. You know, we want to see if we can incorporate voice technology. I said, oh man, that's impossible. We type, how are we going to be able to talk? Oh God, they said, you buy the server. Layla had money back then because I used to work a lot of overtime. I said, I'll buy the server. Y'all invented, and we invented it, Channel Kuwaiti. That was our name of our channel, Channel Kuwaiti. Oh yeah. Bunch of Kuwaitis and Saudis and Layla Nashiba and the 3 white boys from out of California who made a movie about it. Y'all know, the social media dudes. They were all IRC ops with us. And everything was free back then. Back in those days, guys, the internet, because the internet was experimental, everything was free. But man, fast forward to 2024. Yeah, I was here before Freetail. My website was there. You all remember Freetail? Freetail was another voice technology, Pale Talk and all that. I was here before all that crap. Me and Dianara and Channel Kuwaiti. But anyway, subhanAllah, fast forward 2024. Nothing is free. The videos I make, I have to pay for that software. I rent them. I lease the software. The pictures I make. This is a program I use, an AI program I use. We got to pay for that every month. The streaming program, I done switched to a different one because of the hackers. And this one, we pay for this. In fact, that's getting ready to come out. Hello, the bill for the streaming program about to come out. Oh, Lord, I forgot about that. We pay for this. So everything here is in the Zoom room, $200 and something a month. We pay the videos I make, everything. The pictures we use, we pay for it. You run a website, you know, nothing's free. So our monthly bills come to how much? $2,500 a month. Oh yeah, it's $2,500. You know what the IRS told me? They said, you are a nonprofit organization and you are an online Islamic school. He said, and you're not charging any money. He said, if you can't get donations to pay for your online Islamic school, then you shouldn't have one. That's what the IRS told me. They said, if the people don't pay for it, that means it ain't a need for you. That's how nasty they got with me when I asked them, did I qualify like the masjids do for some type of funds? They said no. And they're right. If there's a need for this, if this is important to us, we'd all chip in and pay for it. And by the way, I pay too. I donate every month to this website. And by the way, you can write it off at the end of the year. You know, you need that tax break. By this being a nonprofit organization, you can use it as a tax break at the end of the year, like I do. Okay, so please support us, guys. We are desperately in need of donations. We're $140-something. We prefer that you Zelle. Zelle is always the best because it goes, if for those in America, because it goes from your checking account and to our checking account. They don't charge no fee. If you can't Zelle, then you can go ahead and use Cash App and PayPal. Both of them charges fee. But we need it. I don't care. We'll pay the fee just to get the bills paid. You got to pay Peter to get to Paul and Edward too. And you can call in Jacob. Who knows? That's just how it is. Peter, Paul, Jacob, and Edward. Who knows? So please donate to support this dawah effort. Okay, with that speech being said, let's get to our class. Oh, I hate going through that speech every month because y'all don't know, I don't like asking for anything. SubhanAllah, I'm used to being independent. But sometimes you got to bite the bullet. So with that said and done, let's get to the topic here. Oh, wait, what is this? You got a question, Santisa? Let me see. She said, I have a question. I am not sure if this question is more appropriate for Friday. Is using human leather and cowhide haram? What's human leather? What's human leather, Sister Santisa? What do you mean by human leather? You talking about the skin of a human being? I don't know anybody that's making clothes out of human being skin. That's a sin. That's a capital punishment here in America. You know some company that's using human skin? Boy, they going down. They going down, down. You can't dig up the dead in America and use their body parts. That's a federal offense. So I don't know about that. But leather is not haram. We can use the leather of a pig too. Remember, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, remember what the Prophet said. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, tanning purifies what came before it. So we can wear suede. That's what the pigskin leather is called, suede. We can wear suede. We can even wear a wolf skin and all of that, bear skin, as long as it's tanned. Okay, so leather is lawful because you're tanning it. Now, I don't know no company in America that's using human leather. If they are, they committing a felony. They getting ready to go down. They'll go down in jail. We can't harvest human bodies. So I don't know about that. But leather is lawful. All right, so let's get to the question here. To the class here. I ain't surprised. They do all kind of crap here in America. Probably eating human people too. Probably eating people. Crazy. Yeah, the world is a crazy place, y'all. Even though it's against the law, they probably doing it. I wouldn't be surprised. But they stupid to put human leather on the label. Now, if they're gonna dig up dead people and use their bodies, they're stupid to put it on the tag. Yeah. Oh, all right. Okay. So today, alhamdulillah, we're going to be covering pages 63. Yeah, leather's good. Yes. And by the way, guys, Aisha, just to share some trivia with you guys, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her. She used to wear a wool coat made from wolf skin. Because the desert gets cold at night. So you got a lot of Muslims that try to tell you it's haram to wear fur and all that. Well, they don't know nothing about the mothers of the believers. Aisha had a wool coat made from a wolf skin that she used to wear on the cold nights. She liked to look good. Aisha loved the color red. Her favorite color was pink and red. Okay, she loved pink and red, and she had a beautiful wolf skin jacket that she would wear on the cold nights, all the way up until she died. And she had a pink veil too. Some more trivia. When her nephew went to Turkey, this is in Sahih Bukhari. When her nephew went to Turkey, I told you guys the Turkish women are the ones that wear burqas. The Arab women didn't wear burqas. But when her nephew went to Turkey, he came back and gave her a present of a sheer Turkish veil. And it was pink because he knew that his auntie loved the color pink. So Aisha would sometimes, when she wanted to get dressed up, she put on a beautiful pink dress and she put on that sheer Turkish veil, the half veil that went like this. From Turk, it was Turkish and it was sheer pink. She would wear that when she wanted to get dressed up. But they didn't cover their faces, you know. They wore the hoods, like I told you. This is how the Arabic women, they do like Layla do. If they wanted to hide who they were and be mystique, they would take their hijab, their kimars, like I have on. This is a kimar. And they would pull it forward if they wanted to be mystique. So you can't see who I am. My eyes are covered. Okay, she would do that if she wanted to be mystique. Or in times of war, when she was married to the prophet, all the women, to hide who they were, would do this. They'd walk past a man and go do this. A group of men and do this, then take it down. But like I told you guys, burqa is not part of the Arabic women's dress. Never has been. All right. All right. So today we're going to be covering pages 63 to 69. Let's put the PowerPoint up. And again, go to Amazon and get a copy of this book if you don't have it. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, I did, brothers. Brother saying, Sister Layla, I didn't understand it. You didn't understand it. It was kind of hard. Yeah, today we're going to be covering pages 66 to 69. And what Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd did is he speaks about the higher aims of the Quran. The higher aims of the Quran. We spoke about the higher aims. How we should aim high when it comes to our actions of worship. What do I mean when I say we should aim high when it comes to our obligations? That's what I want to say. What do I mean when I say we should aim high when it comes to fulfilling our obligations to Allah? What do I mean by that? Break that down in grassroots English. Anyone? When I say we should aim high when it comes to fulfilling our obligations to Allah, what am I talking about? What am I saying to you? What am I telling you? Anyone? If I told my granddaughter, aim high when it comes to performing your prayers, aim high when it comes to making your fast up. What am I saying basically? That's Maqasid. What am I saying? Anyone, wake up or I'm going to shut it down.
Aside from making sure you're doing it the way Allah legislated and how the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us, I think the higher aim in doing your obligations is maybe including the sunnah in it. Like, for example, don't just do your obligational prayers, but add the sunnah prayers with it.
Exactly. Do it to the best of your, as correctly as, that's good, as correctly as possible. Aim high to do it as correctly as possible. Don't just pray. Do the sunans too, like she said, because that's where the extra reward come from. And also the sunans make up for any mistake. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. If you make a mistake in your prayers, the sunans make up for that. So we should aim high when it comes to fulfilling our obligations to Allah. Be maqasid, okay? And also aim high when it comes to doing those actions that we don't have to do either. Well, now today we're going to speak about the higher aims of understanding the meaning of the Quran. Maqasid Al-Quran. Reach high. We should reach high to try to interpret the Quran as best we can and apply it to our lives. Let's take a look at this. Come on. Okay, there it is. I'm going to say, where is it? It's not opening. All right. Okay, part of the character of higher aim-based interpretation of the Quran. And that's what that Arabic statement, Maqasidic or Maqasid Tafsir. This is what it's referring to. You're aiming high to understand the meaning and to interpret and apply the meaning of the Quran to your life. And part of the characteristic of this is to, again, look at the structure, derive the meaning of the Quran from its structure. And this can be done one of two ways. In other words, how can I reach high to interpret and apply the Quran to my everyday life? Well, one of two ways. Number one, I can do it just by the way Allah manifests his words to us on its own. What does that mean? There are some verses of the Quran that just are clear. They're clear to you. You don't need anyone to interpret it for you. It means what it says. An example, thou shalt not commit adultery. That's it. That's clear on its own. Thou shalt not steal. That's clear. We don't steal. Okay? So that's the first way to go about interpreting and applying the Quran to yourself. And then the second way is by looking at what it resembles and what it differs from. In other words, what does this verse resemble? This verse may be similar to another verse in the Quran. Or how does this verse differ from another verse in the Quran? Am I making this clear? Because this can get confusing. Is this understandable? I need y'all to let me know. Brother Tajri, is it making sense? Maybe there's another verse in the Quran that resembles this verse. And from that, I can come up with a meaning. Or maybe this verse is the total opposite of another, which lets me understand. So those are the two ways. The two ways that we can aim high to interpret and implement the Quran in our lives. And also, okay, good. Also, okay, the person on Rumble said it's very clear. Thank you. Thank you, the person on Rumble, because I don't know what's going on in the Zoom room. Yeah, thank you. Person on Rumble. Okay. Very clear. By the way, how y'all got my phone number on Rumble? We got to check that out. How did they get my phone number? Okay, we check that out. Okay. All right. Okay. Also, there are trends in interpretation. There are some types of interpretation of the Quran, guys, that really contradict the higher aimed interpretations. And then there are other interpretations of the Quran that are compatible with the higher aim based interpretations. And I know that sounds confusing, but that's going to make sense as we go on through this chapter. What you guys are learning is the science of the Quran. What we are learning right now is the science of the Quran. If you were going to an Islamic school, an Islamic university like Al-Azhar, this is what they would be teaching. This class would be called the science of the Quran. People spend a lot of years learning this stuff. So try to follow along with me. And if there's something that's confusing, let me know. So, in order to implement the Quran into our lives, we have to make sure that our interpretation of the meaning of it is as correct as it can be. Okay? Otherwise, you will be one of these innovators. And that's what we're getting ready to talk about now. For example, there are some tafsir or some interpretations that contradict the higher aim of the Quran, which is to interpret and apply it to your life. And you will find that these types of tafsir books, they are dedicated to interests such as philosophy and mysticism, Remember, and we're going to go over this again. I taught you guys about a man named Ibn Sina. And we're going to learn about Ibn Sina when I go back to book 1, Know Your Lord. Ibn Sina was one of the group of men that came from out of Persia. He called himself a scholar of Islam. He interpreted the Quran, but his interpretation of the Quran was based on philosophy and mysticism. In fact, even today, many of the Sufis, they use mysticism to try to interpret the meaning of the Quran. For example, they will paint verses with philosophy. They will use what first century Christians and what first century Jews had to say. Y'all see a lot of people do that. Well, the Christians said, and the Jews said that this meant this happened, that happened. And so thus, guys, instead of focusing on the objectives of that verse of the Quran, instead, these people, these mystics, they provide unclear objectives that bring you no understanding of what Allah has said, but instead, their objectives help those amongst them who want to appear to be educated. You find a lot of people like that on that program Clubhouse. Oh, yeah. That program Clubhouse. There's a lot of Arabs who have PhDs. They got PhDs in philosophy, PhDs in science. And all they do is sit around and tear the Quran apart. They try to philosophize what Allah meant. They compare what Allah says to what Sigmund Freud would say or what Einstein said. Listen to what one of the companions said. He said, while interpreting the Quran, a Sufi, he goes beyond the outward or the explicit indications of the verse. And instead, he manipulates the words to support his mystical view. They tell you that they're looking at the inner meaning. How many of you know Muslims like that? They'll take a verse of the Quran and say, oh, there's a deeper meaning there. We have to read beyond what's obvious and look for the deep inner meaning. This is what the Sufi mystics are big on. And an example of this type of tafsir is the openings in Mecca. There's a tafsir book entitled The Openings in Mecca. It's written by Ibn Arabi. And these are examples of this type of interpretation of the Quran. Okay? Well-known book that does that many of the Sufis use. Also, Ad-Dahabi added, he said, there are numerous examples of mystical interpretations. Numerous examples of this type of interpretation that contradict the higher aim-based approach. So that's why I tell you guys, we were talking about this earlier, we have to be careful. When it comes to seeking knowledge of this religion, we have to be careful who we are taking our knowledge from and what they are giving us to learn, teaching us. Because you will come upon a lot of people who will give you explanations of the meaning of the Quran that totally contradict what that meaning truly is. And there's no way you can apply that verse accurately in your life. Does everybody understand that? So be careful of that. Because all you're going to find is contradiction. All you're going to find is inconsistency. And it takes the Quran from its intended aim or purpose. Are you guys with me so far? Answer me. Zoom room, Mina, am I making sense?
We hear you.
Am I breaking this down? Because when
I have a
you,
question though.
yeah, go ahead.
The verses that they're trying to twist into their own words, are these like the clear verses, like "Thou shalt not commit adultery," or are they the
Yeah, they do
open-ended?
it to them too. Some of them do that too. The mystics will take a verse and turn it all the way around. That's what we're saying here. Yeah. They twist the verses around. It can be a verse that's clear or a verse that's unclear. They're going to say they believe that there's a hidden meaning in everything. That's why I tell you guys, be careful of the mystics. They will tell you that the number 19, when Allah says that, for example, let me give you an example. Allah says that there are 19 guardians over the hellfire. That's in the Quran. They look at that and say the number 19 brings about great significance. The number 19 means this. They will read and make up stuff that's not even mentioned. They will tell you things and say things that Allah is not even mentioned. So yeah, it can be a verse clear like that, and they'll still do it. Mystic Sufis, they're very dangerous. Sheikh Atlee speaks against them a lot. They're crazy. Okay? And there's other tafsir trends too. And some of them resemble the higher aim-based tafsir. And the ones that do resemble the higher base tafsir, they may include scientific or language or legal issues. And we're going to talk about that. Let's put this in here. Yeah, Brother Tajri say he know it's true. Yeah, you know, them Sufis, they'll twist everything around. That's why I was telling you on the class earlier, so be careful. We don't sit there and listen to just anybody. If their aqidah, if their belief system is corrupt, don't listen to nothing they got to say. Ibn Sina, his belief system was corrupt. He started that movement. And anybody that follows him today, they're corrupt. And there's a lot of people that follow him. When y'all go to these, listen to these online speak. Let me give y'all a clue. A lot of these famous speakers here in America, I want y'all to Google them. Go to their so-called Islamic schools. Most of these brothers and sisters got online Islamic schools or institutes. Look at their curriculum. If they have classes on theology, there you go. You know that this is some Sufi-based crap. This is some Sufi-based crap. That's some Ibn Sina-based crap. Theology, philosophy, the theology of Islam. No. You will find that most of these famous speakers in America, they are of the Sufi sect. Go to their schools, you see the proof of what they teaching. The mysticism of this, the psychology of that, the scientific comparison. Oh yeah, scientific comparison of Islam. Oh, they got classes with all kind of stupid names like that. So you have to be careful. That's why I tell y'all, Google these people y'all think are famous speakers, who y'all think are scholars. They ain't no scholars. They're not scholars of Quran wa Sunnah. They may be scholars of mysticism, but they ain't no scholars of Quran wa Sunnah. And again, the interpreters of the Quran, they did not develop these trends to analyze the higher aim of the Quran. In other words, they did not develop these trends to reflect on the true meaning. Okay? Many of these people develop these trends for other reasons. Comparison and all like that. Okay? Then we have some tafsir trends that can be seed beds for the higher aim based thought. And these type of tafsirs, they are based on, they analyze, they look at the words of Allah, what Allah is saying, they analyze it. And after, this is what I do a lot of too. They analyze what Allah says. And then they tell you how it's based on today's themes. That's what you guys see me do. I'm always telling you guys, look at this verse. Allah says here, blah, blah, blah. And I'll give you an example of how it's applied today. These types of tafsir, they complement the higher based thought, and they serve as a source to identify the higher based thought. That's why I can teach this class, because this is what I do. This is what Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd does. This is what Dr. Ibrahim Jamali does. This is what Sheikh Morsi does. This is what Sheikh Atlee does. Okay? So we'll look at the verse of the Quran, analyze the meaning of it. That's what Dr. Asim's class is. Dr. Asim's class is Reflections of the Quran. What are y'all supposed to be doing in his class? He talks about repentance. He'll quote some verses from the Quran where Allah speaks about repentance. And then what does Dr. Asim do, Mina? He breaks it down. He analyzes. And he gives you themes from today. That's why he asked, what is your input, Anissa? Anissa's dealing with trials. How do those trials impact you and your relationship with Allah and cause you to repent? Y'all following me? This is what we do here at Sunnahfollowers. We use the type of tafsir that's based on trying to get you to analyze, think, and give scenarios from the world that you can relate to as to how to apply it. Okay? We don't do like the Sufis and tell you that there's a hidden meaning. And this type of explanation of the Quran, like what we do here, Sunnahfollowers, we're not devoid. They're neither devoid of higher aim base color, nor do they represent it to the T. Instead, it carries shared components while maintaining its own exclusive dimensions. This is a method that we use a lot here at Sunnahfollowers. Okay? And this type of trend is significant. It serves as a significant source for the higher aim. And most of them are limited to outlining the higher aims of a verse or a series of verses. In other words, they usually do not mention or show the means that could lead to achieving those higher purposes or implementation of an action plan. Okay? So that's what we do here at Sunnahfollowers mostly, to help you get to the higher aim. We cause you to reflect. If I were to rewrite all of this, I would say we will take a verse of the Quran, analyze the meaning of it, give you examples from real life, and then ask you how you can take that meaning and apply it to the examples of real life. That's why Sheikh Saud's class. What is the name of Sheikh Saud's class? His class is Interpretation and Implementation of the Quran. Sheikh Saud is teaching y'all the meaning. For example, the meaning of the verses of Surah Ikhlas. And then how to take those verses and implement them in your personal life. How to make it apply to you and your scenario. Just like Dr. Asim does with Reflections. Okay. Now, we talked about how the higher aim based tafsir, in order for it to be accepted, there's certain things it has to abide by. We talked about Tafsir bil Rai. And this is what this book, this book that we're studying, this is an example of opinionated. Sheikh Kareem's book is an example of opinionated tafsir, but we use authentic evidence. We use tafsir bil matur to prove our opinion-based interpretation. So that's what I do here too. If I'm going to break down the meaning of a verse in the Quran to you, for example, like I use the verse, Allah says, "O you women who believe, do not stomp your feet publicly to bring attention to you." I'm going to base my interpretation of the meaning of that on some evidence. Well, I got the evidence. Aisha, she said before Islam, the Arabic women would go to the marketplace and they would put bangles on their ankles and they would stand and they would stomp their feet on the ground to make their bangles jingle so they could get the attention of the men for whatever they wanted, be it prostitution or be it just to be acknowledged. So I'm not going to tell you that that verse means you can't wear high heel shoes, because that ain't what it's talking about. It's not talking about high heel shoes. It's talking about making a public spectacle of yourself. Y'all see how I explained that? I'm giving you my opinion of what that verse means based on tafsir bil matur, based on evidence. And what you sisters are going to have to learn to do is call these brothers out. For example, the brothers that tell you that that verse means that you can't wear high heel shoes, I would love to hear what they base it on, because there ain't no hadith that contradicts Aisha's. Even Ibn Abbas said that's what it means. Even Ibn Umar said that's what it means. So I would love to hear how these brothers came up with high heel shoes, because there's no evidence that it applies to that. So do you understand? So when we emphasize the Quranic sciences, the interpreter, when he's pursuing the meaning of the Quran, he has to base it on some type of evidence. Y'all understand that? Another example, like we had yesterday, the sisters came here, they were on the verge of apostating. They said that some scholar, some famous personality told them that it's haram for them to wear a nose ring. And I asked them, what did he base it on? What verse of the Quran? Because there's no verse. There's nothing in the Quran that mentions anything about women wearing a nose ring. And there's no hadith on planet Earth that mentions anything about a woman not wearing a nose ring. So if you ask me that question, I'm going to tell you it's lawful. Why? What's my tafsir bil matur, my evidence? Because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the lawful and the unlawful have been clearly defined by Allah. The things that he did not mention are concessions, accept them. And don't give me the verse about what's the word I used yesterday? That it destroys your, what's disfigurement? Don't give me that word about don't disfigure yourself. Because Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, said, not only are women allowed to show their faces publicly, but we're also allowed to show our makeup and whatever jewelry we have on our face too. So there you go. She said jewelry on your face. The Arab women been wearing nose rings since Cleopatra and before. Dig them up. So, and what is disfigurement? The nose ring is not disfiguring your nose. If I take this ring out, and in 2 weeks, that hole is closed up. But if I were to pierce my private parts, that's disfigurement. Because piercing my private parts will not only destroy the way it looks, the way it functions, it also takes away the sensitivity. That's disfigurement. That's changing yourself. So see how I gave that answer based on Tafsir bil Mathur. That's evidence-based. So whenever we give an opinion about, I'm just using as an example, whenever we give an opinion about a verse of the Quran, it has to be based on some solid evidence, some type of clear, solid evidence. And when we try to do the higher aim interpretation of the Quran, there are certain sciences we have to follow as well. And what are they? Well, number one, whoever's going to interpret that verse, number one, he has to have knowledge of the different types of interpretation. Number two, and this is where we lose it, he has to know the history of Islam. How many times I tell y'all that? And the history of Islam is the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you don't know the history of Islam, you're not qualified to interpret anything. Okay? Also, he has to know the current order of the written Quran. Also, the interpreter must know the science of connectivity. They don't know that either, most of them. Also, they have to know the science behind the revelation. In other words, the history. The history, what happened? What happened to make Allah say this? Like I'm giving y'all about the don't stomp your feet. Aisha tells us the history, what happened. She said, that's how women used to get attention. The Prophet said, nah, you ain't got to do that no more. You ain't got to stomp your feet and let your jewelry jingle to be seen, to be heard anymore. Okay? You also have to know the significance of the Mecca period and the Medina period, because different things happen during that time. And also that you have to know the science of crystal clear verses and ambiguous verses. You have to know the clearness from that which is not a clearness. Most of them don't know that either. And also you have to know the science of knowledge. You have to know what hadiths were abrogated. You have to know what verses were abrogated and all of that. You got to know them hadiths, man. And you have to know the names of the chapters of the Quran. You have to know all the stories and lessons learned from the Quran. You have to also know the authentic virtues of each chapter. And you have to know what the higher aim of the Quran itself is. So, y'all see, being a scholar of the Quran is not an easy thing. To sit around and interpret the meaning of the Quran is not an easy thing to do. You have to learn from scholars who have studied the Quran. Scholars like Sheikh Saud, like Dr. Jamali. By the way, Dr. Jamali has a PhD in Quranic science and Hadith science. Okay, like Sheikh Morsi. Okay. And so now I'm going to speak about valid interpretations or valid tafsirs. As I tell you guys all the time, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the first interpreter of the Quran. How many of you have heard me say, I'm going to give you the tafsir of the Prophet Muhammad? Y'all know how I'll say that? You guys ask me, are you using Ibn Kathir? No, I'm not using Ibn Kathir's tafsir. I'm using the Prophet Muhammad's tafsir. He was the first to give the meaning of the Quran. His explanation to his companions of the revealed verses is known as the concise explanation. And that's it. If the Prophet Muhammad gives an explanation of the meaning, that's it. No one can override him. Y'all understand that? Also, the examination of the Prophet's brief tafsir of the Quran developed into other phases, which led to different tafsir trends, such as the analytical and the thematic, which then evolved into the comparative approach. So all the different approaches that are good, they all are stems from the Prophet Muhammad's approach. Okay? And for the person that is interpreting the Quran, he can adopt different methods to explain the Quran based on the objective that he's seeking. Okay? But again, we don't change the meaning. We don't add to the meaning. And again, there's always evidence. There's always evidence. There's always evidence to support your meaning. That's what the interpreter has to stick by. And here, and remember, guys, Allah tells us in the Quran, and the interpretation of the meaning, thus do we diversify the verses. So the unbelievers will say, you have studied them. And so we may make the Quran clear for those who don't know. Here we can see that the higher aim-based interpretation comes from all these different valid trends. Not the mystic stuff, but the analytical, the scientific, all the comparative from all those different trends. All those different trends can be instrumental and of great benefit to whoever's interpreting it. So you can use any of those approaches. Dr. Asim, he specializes in the scientific approach. And he specializes in the linguistic approach because Dr. Asim has a PhD in Fusha too, the original Arabic language. So when Dr. Asim is giving us his class and giving us the meaning, he's not only using science, but he's giving you the linguistics of it too. Okay? When you guys are getting the meaning from me, I'm giving you the analytical and the thematic. I mostly use an analytical, which is the interpretation of the meaning, and I use thematic. I try to get you to apply it. Dr. Dramali uses all of them, all the different ways, except for mysticism. He doesn't deal in that mysticism, but he uses all the valid approaches. Okay? And so now, remember, the thing is, as long as it, it doesn't, it's got to stick with these. Did I put it there? I skipped it, y'all. Wait a minute. Where's my page? I skipped the one where the different, oh, here they are. Oh, I did. Yeah, here it is. Long as it doesn't contradict this stuff, guys. Let me put it up here again. I was going to say, did I? Current page. You can use any of those approaches. Again, as long as it doesn't violate any of this. So any of those trends can be used to interpret the Quran as long as it doesn't violate this stuff here. Okay, so we're going to stop right here. Any questions? Is this clear? If it's not, ask. And because I tried to make it as simple as I can, because I know the wording is horrific in the book. But I tried to make it simple. Y'all have any questions? Any clarification needed?
So basically, as long as we stick to them right there is identifying this right here, this class right here got me confused, Sister Leah.
I figured it would because I tried to make it simple. As long as whatever method you're using is based on, remember, don't ever forget Tafsir bil Matur, evidence-based. It's got to be based on some evidence from the prophet, from the companions. If you're going to give an opinion, what is your opinion based on? You got to provide a clear evidence as to how you came to that opinion. Okay? You can't violate something that the prophet said either. You can't say that number 19 means we're going to be floating through the sky. Well, there ain't nothing in Islam to talk about that. But a lot of us got different ways of explaining the Quran to you. Like I said, Dr. Asim, what's his specialty? His specialty is the Arabic language. So he's going to break those words down to y'all in plain, simple English. And he's a scientist. He's going to also give you the science behind it. And he'll throw in evidence from the Sunnah. That's his approach, scientific and linguistic. My approach is analytical. I'm going to give you the verse. We're going to break it down, get a Webster's dictionary. What does the word defective mean? That's analyze. We're going to analyze every single word in this verse of the Quran and what it means. And now that we understand what these words mean, we can now get to the meaning of this verse. And how does it relate to the theme of today? Or how does that compare to what's happening in the world today? That's the approach I use. And I'll always back it up with evidence from the prophet, from the companions. Whereas Dr. Jamali will do all of this and more, because he's a scholar of the Quran. Sheikh Morsi too. And they always back it up in evidence. But we don't do that mysticism, which is making up stuff. Whatever you say the meaning of these verses are, it has to say that. And you have to have evidence to support what you said this verse means. Do you understand? That's basically today's class in a nutshell.
Yeah, I understand, because that's the one you had went over a couple of days ago of what to say. So it kind of all boils down to saying the same thing, but in different terms. It was just a lot of
terminology he used.
Yeah, so that's what threw me off. I'm like, what?
Yeah, but that's it. In a nutshell, this whole class can be said in that paragraph. You know, there's different approaches to explaining the meaning, but it's got to all be, everything has to be based on evidence. And that's why I tell y'all got to be careful listening to these other people. What evidence is they giving y'all when they say that this verse means that? Who said that? Did the prophet say it? Did any of those companions say it? Or is that a scholarly view? And the more you take it back to the prophet and the companions, the higher the aim is. Some people give tafsir based on scholarly view only. Okay? Scholarly view. What is that? Okay? But for the ones who are the most aiming the most high, the ones who come with the best, most correct understanding are those of us that related to what the prophet said in those companions. Like I just did the nose ring. What I said about the nose ring outtrops everybody else. That one fatwa of Aisha. And Ibn Abbas got that same fatwa too.
I was going to say that last slide that you provided, like it's a really good like step by step. Like you know how they subtitle in each one.
Yes.
So the next step, you know, it really helps the reader and the person who's trying to research how to go back in order to find that trail that leads you all the way back to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to really get the core of where it came from, like to hit those components that they'll be able to formulate how they came about that opinion. Especially break down the Tafsir,
Maqasid,
the scholarly view on that one. And I think that's a very important one, because we need that, because so many people can throw so much stuff at you. And you're like, where did you get this from? Or whatnot. Oh, I heard. You could just automatically off the bat just throw that out the window. Like, nah, this is not authentic. It's not proper or whatnot. So
exactly.
Yeah, looking back, it just like really summarizes everything of how we should go about putting going on with it. So I had to like take it and look out for what is it kind of good. So it's helping so far. I'm actually getting it,
And the next part, he talks about the different types. That's why I save them for the next when we meet for the next time, because he breaks it down. He goes into different ones, the different types and stuff. I really like this book. I really do, because Kareem really breaks this stuff down. The different ways that people interpret. But a lot of these people are interpreting the Quran and they ain't qualified, as you can see. They don't know the history. You don't know the hadiths. I don't want to hear about no views. You make it more Maqasid. What did the Prophet say? What did the companions say? Hello. We got to be careful. Aim for the most highest understanding, so you can apply.
So with Sister Nana, so basically the Majistics, the one you said, the first people, I forgot to say Majistics something. So them would be like the mystical.
Yeah.
So them people will be like, say for instance, how they try to take Allah's attributes and say that he's above his throne. So okay, I get what you're saying now. Okay, I was trying to put that, I was using that as an example in my head, but I just wanted to make sure that
those are Mutazilah. Yep, that's the Sufis, and Shiites do it too, they say. The Shiites and Sufis. The Shiites got a whole different understanding of that Quran. From what I heard, they got their understanding is just totally crazy. It ain't based on nothing but their dumb stuff. That's why I tell y'all, be careful. Be careful who you take your knowledge of this religion from. Be careful what books you read. And like I said, I've been teaching Islam since I was 12. I never used anybody's books before. This is the first time that I've seen books written in English that I can incorporate to my website curriculum to use. These books they're irreplaceable. They're excellent. Yeah, they give you the understanding that you need. But of course, you can't teach yourself. You got to have a teacher teach you. But what is this? Yeah, you understand this stuff, then you'll walk away with this good. Okay, yeah, the brother here said he understood it. Thank you. So it's clear to everybody then. Okay, guys, inshallah.
Okay, wait a minute now, Sheba. So the whole thing is the different ways the verses of the Quran is interpreted, either analytical or whatever. And the word Maqasidic means the correct understanding of the Quran.
You want to aim for the most correct understanding so you can implement it. You have to put the word implement.
I mean, the higher aim means the correct understanding.
The higher aim means to understand it and implement it.
Correct, okay, to understand.
And implement.
And apply.
Yeah.
To understand and apply. to your life.
Right, right.
Okay, so that's what the higher aim is. And all of this stuff right here, this analytical, mathematical, all this stuff right here is just the different ways that they are interpreting the verses.
The methods they use to interpret the Quran.
The methods.
So these are different methods that people use to interpret the Quran. And these are all, they're good as long as they're, they're evidence-based. Everything, Islam is a religion of evidence.
Yeah, evidence.
If they
that's what's matur, or
that's Tafsir bil Matur. The other one, Rai, means opinion.
This one is
we're giving our opinion. This book, all of this is opinion. This book, this collection, Kareem Abu Zaid's is Tafsir bil Riyah, his opinion of the meaning based on the high evidence. The same way I do it. We all give our opinions. All of us are giving our opinions based on your evidence different ways. I use analysts. I use the analytical approach and the thematic approach. That's what the approach I use. Dr. Asim uses thematic means examples, themes that of what relates to today. And Dr. Asim uses linguistics, which is language, and science. Okay. And Dr. Jamali uses them all. He uses language, he uses science, he uses analysts, he uses all of them.
So the analytical is the what to
have you break down the meaning of the words. Why y'all think I'm a stickler on what does that word mean? Analyze the meaning. Analyze means to look at beneath the surface to see what it means. I make you break down. I break down analyze each word, figure out what those words mean in English, and now put them together and tell me what Allah is saying. That's the analytical approach. I use that approach along with thematic and comparative. I use all three. I give you a theme. The theme is sex out of wedlock. That's the theme. Now I'm going to give you a verse of the Quran that relates to that. Analyze this verse. What is Allah saying in this verse? How does that verse relate to sex out of wedlock? Then I make y'all compare it. I then make y'all take it and compare it to your personal life. So I use the analytical, thematic, comparative approach. And all of this is acceptable as long as it's based on evidence. Because this is all our opinion.
Yeah.
And opinions got to be based on evidence. Okay. What do you have to support it? That's why I tell these brothers, when y'all tell women that it's haram to wear colors, what's your evidence? And they don't have any. Then I don't want to hear it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Everybody got it? Yeah, the book is going to get more complicated. And like I said, this is a class you would be taking if you were going to Al-Azhar University. This is a class you would be taking. It's called the Science of the Quran. You guys are learning it for free. That's why I say, please donate. We need donations. If you guys enjoy learning Islam and its truthfulness with the understanding of the Prophet, please support us so I don't have this stress on me. I am so stressed out about how we going to pay for this website each month. It's ridiculous. Yeah, the brother's texting me. Yes, you can send it to Cash App too. I hate Cash App, but yeah. Got one time though. One time to mess me up with this Cash App, and we'll be sending it back to you. Oh y'all don't know how tired
We
I am.
ain't sending nothing else back to nobody. Once you give it, baby, you gonna have to wait because you done gave it. We needed it. You gave it. You shouldn't have. Because we ain't giving nothing back.
Y'all hear that? That's the president of the company. Yeah, tomorrow's class. What's tomorrow, y'all? Wednesday? What do we have?
Prayer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Prayer.
Don't forget, guys. We start. I'm going to look at that tonight. Y'all got the book, Know Your Lord. Let me put that little commercial on, too. Again, I'm going to play it up again. Y'all look at the men crying in the commercial. Where's that commercial at? Where's my commercial? With the men crying? Yeah, honey, cry, baby, cry. Wipe your weepy eye. Put your hand on your hip, brothers. It's your fault, brothers. Where that movie, that video?
Know your Lord. We learn about his names and his attributes. Know your Lord. What he approves and disapproves. Know your Lord. Believe in all things that he has brought forth. Know his oneness, Lord.
Know Your Lord, part of the Right Belief series by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid, right here on Sunnahfollowers. Being taught by Ustada Layla Nashiba as she lays down the foundations to get you together. Learn about your Lord. Know your Lord. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers.
That last one is a drug addict. You see that in the video? The last man, he's a drug addict. He coming off of heroin. The brothers wanted me to put them in videos. Well, I gave you brothers what y'all wanted. Y'all wanted me to make some videos with men in them? There you go. Crying your heart out. Because that's how I look at y'all today. You brothers are supposed to be the leaders of this nation. Y'all broken. You're sitting around with your head in your hands crying, or you done doped out. You at the window wanting to fix, or you're looking up thinking, Allah, why? So yeah, I gave you brothers what you wanted. A video with you in it. Muslim men. And the women are strong. Trying to keep it real. Yeah. Yeah, well, tomorrow we have the 6:30 class, and that's going to be that. Well, here they asking me the same thing the sister had. You know, I don't know. I'll post the pages up tonight, I promise, because I got to look at my PowerPoint. And also tomorrow we have the prayer. Yes, I'm going to give you guys a quiz on the pillars of the prayer. We covered all the pillars of the prayer. So the quiz is going to be, what are the pillars of the prayer? And then we're going to go into the Sunnahs. All right. Okay. I want to thank everybody for joining. Please support us, guys. We need your donations. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Everybody have a good night. Yeah, that last